So I want to talk about your singer for a minute, Dave, because Cy obviously was not going to be in the band,
Yeah.
and to replace him, I mean, he's not. He was thrash metal vocalist, but he's not the easiest guy I think to replace for the way that Onslaught needs to sound. But
Yeah.
you found Dave, and I remember hearing the album Generation Antichrist, and I thought the guy sounded incredible and fit the band perfectly. Talk about how you found him. How did you find this guy, and what was it about him that made you, aside from his voice, that made you want to bring him into the band?
Well, Dave was in a band with our drummer James previously, and we obviously knew that Cy was going to leave. So we were all in discussion about where should we go. We had a few names in mind, and James said, "Look, let me get Dave. Have a word with Dave. Speak to him. See if he's." We knew he's a massive fan of the band, but said whether he thinks he can pull it off. I said fine, because I checked out their band previous, and I thought, well, nah, Dave doesn't sound what we're looking for particularly. But James said, trust me, he's got something that you probably haven't seen or you don't know about. So he went away, and Dave was obviously really stoked about getting the chance to join the band. He said, look, I have this other side. I have several sides of vocals that I can deliver. And I know, being a fan of the band, I know that I can deliver exactly what you want. So came to rehearsal. We played pretty much, I guess, a lot of the Force stuff and some Killing Peace and stuff. And he just blew us away. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So our list never made it to any farther than the list, and we gave Dave the job there and then on the spot. And I think he was in the studio pretty much within a month of joining the band to record Generation Antichrist vocals.
Okay.
And then that went up another level. We had a guy called Pete Hinton, old friend of mine, producer, who came in to help out Dave with the album. And Pete's produced, I think he'd done all the first three or four Saxon albums. He was producer on that.
Sure.
And loads of other stuff. Very easy to work with guy. This was the thing, because Dave was obviously quite nervous about it, to say the least. So having Pete in, very calm and influenced, very experienced, and he just got Dave in the slot straight away. And it was such an easy process. I think it was maybe 5 days to do all the vocals and some bonus stuff as well.
Yeah.
And Dave was just like, I think it kind of amazed him what Pete had brought out of him as well. Just delivered the vocals that were absolutely amazing. I mean, obviously we were concerned about replacing Cy, because Dave had some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And Cy was very popular with the fans as well. But it was seamless. I don't recall having one complaint about Cy leaving and Dave joining once they'd heard Dave's vocals. It was, in a way, I think Dave's almost taken it up another level, in terms of aggression particularly. So, I mean, he's got so much energy and so much enthusiasm for it. It's just been an inspirational move for everybody else in the band as well.
And so, yeah, and Generation Antichrist happened to come out at a very bad time. Came out in 2020. And I know I had you on the show probably, right before it came out. And a lot of bands were delaying albums. You decided to put it out, though.
Yeah.
And why did you decide to do that? And do you think that was a good decision? Did it, obviously most bands didn't tour for a couple of years, but why'd you decide to put it out and not hold on to it?
Well, I spoke to the label about it, and the label was still functioning to whatever level it could, and everything else was functioning. I think, a couple of bands who I have a lot of respect for and I like a lot, Testament and Lamb of God, both decided to put albums out during lockdown as well. And I thought, well, okay, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. So we kind of discussed it with the label of all the advantages and disadvantages. And I think at that time, the advantages kind of outweighed the minus. The minus that we were going to have was that we couldn't tour the album, which is kind of annoying. But on the other hand, as you say, not many bands put their albums out at that time. So it gave us a lot of focus from fans and any media that were going. So the media response was incredible. I think I'd done something like over 200 interviews for that album, you know? Everybody had a lot of time on their hands to do this. I had loads of time to sit all day, every day, doing interviews, and vice versa for the media. So the media coverage was immense. The reviews were fantastic. So and obviously the fans are sat at home waiting for new music. So everything was a plus except for touring, you know. So it was a no-brainer in the end, and it kind of paid off with them.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if everybody's holding on to their albums, eventually everybody's going to release them all at the same time. You have double the amount of records coming out. So, it was an interesting time. I think the album is fantastic, which leads me into the next question. How far along are you on the next one, the actual next studio album?
I've got a decent start on it, shall we say. If I have one fault about myself, I find it difficult to multitask. So until this album's kind of out and put to bed, the Origins album, I can't focus too much on the next project, you know, because I'm just, everything's going towards Origins of Aggression at the moment.
Sure.
But I have the album title, I have all the song titles, I have a lot of vocal sections, I have a lot of riffs. So it's just now a case of compiling stuff together. I know Wayne's got a lot of parts written. So I think once we get into June and the album's out, I can start concentrating on the next studio record.
Right.
Lots and lots of ideas, like the total kind of theme of the album. It's all in place. It's just starting to put it together and get my physical fitness back after being unwell for some time. So I'm still a good 30% off of my physicality at the moment to be able to really get out of a guitar what I need to, you know?
Yeah. And it's nice to see that you are recovering from that, by the way. Yeah, because I know you posted about that, you know, not long ago. But yeah, I mean, this kind of music, man, you got to physically be able to do it, especially with what you guys play. So, So, you know, speaking of, you know, obviously this album, you have a new label that you're a part of, Raining Phoenix Music. Now I know AFM, pretty much every band kind of became a casualty of the buyout and all that stuff. What led you to RPM? You know, obviously there's a lot of labels that would probably have loved to have signed you. What made you sign with them? What was it about them that really attracted you to go with them?
Well, basically, Niels and Jochen, who are the two of the main management guys at Raining Phoenix, they were both at AFM previously.
Yep, they were.
Yeah, our contract had expired with AFM, and we renegotiated our deal with Jochen. Much improved terms. It was fantastic. He's a fan of the band, as is Niels, and we re-signed with AFM. Next thing we know, several months later, we'd heard news that Niels and Jochen were leaving and forming this new label, Raining Phoenix. So that obviously was a kind of bit of soul destroying, really, because they were our allies at the label, and the label had had a lot of changes, and none of the people that we'd worked with before were there anymore. We didn't know anybody. I'd never met anybody on a personal level at AFM that were left there. So it was like, wow, this is not cool. So we heard a kind of all the restructuring of what was going on. And it didn't sound like it was going to be very good for us in the future. So I gave Niels a call, and he was in the office at the time. I said, Niels, look, we're obviously not happy with the situation. What's going on at AFM? You guys have left. We feel we're going to be kind of left on our own a little bit. I said, would Rain in Phoenix be interested in signing Onslaught? And direct. I mean, we're good friends, so I can speak to him this way. Like,
Sure.
and he guys in the office, we interested in signing Onslaught, and it was like, yeah. It's like, okay, that's so we want to come.
Yeah.
Obviously, then we had to negotiate our way out of the newly signed contract with AFM, which, in fairness to them, was they were because of the restructuring and what the label is becoming. I didn't see that they've seen Onslaught as very big in their plans, you know. So we've come to an agreement with AFM for release, which worked out very well for both parties.
Yeah.
That's what happens. We because obviously the Origins album was made ready for AFM, so I don't think they were too keen on it. It's not in their kind of pathway now.
Yeah.
So we took the album and the videos. Rain in Phoenix got it, and everything's worked out amazing. But yeah, I mean, we had a couple of real cool labels wanting to sign us as well. But because I'm friendly with those guys and we know that they're fans of the band, it was a no-brainer for us. I took some advice off of other people,
Yeah.
who know them well, and they said, yeah, you've got to sign for these over these. Like, so that's what we did, and they
Back in the late 90s, it was about late 90s when AFM was kind of really starting out. Nil set me up with interviews from bands on that label back then. So he was a pretty cool dude from what I remember from dealing with him back in the day. So yeah, it's nice to see you as part of that label because you have a lot of great bands on there, and you have a lot of really good publicity people there as well.
In particular, yeah, the publicity departments have been fantastic so far, I must say.
Yeah.
It's nice to be. I know I love Niels. We're good friends. I can trust him, and I know he loves the band. So if we get everybody to that level within the label, we're on a win-win. So
yeah, there's a couple former Nuclear Blast people there that I dealt with that are great. And in general, you have a lot of really good people working there, from at least in the dealings I've ever had with them. So one thing I've always, and you probably get this question a lot. Hey, everybody. Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching. And if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video. And if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.